Hello and welcome to a brand new edition of Star Trail. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. Joining us today is the entire star cast and team of Haseena Parkar, a much-awaited movie. Welcome, all of you, to NewsX firstly.
Thank you.
Starting out with Shraddha, how was it like when you first were approached for Haseena Parkar? It's your first, solo lead role, and it's of course it's a realistic part. So how was it like? What was your first reaction?
It's actually entirely based on a real-life character. So, that adds its own element to the whole equation. It was, I think it's my first proper title role character, and I think what makes it interesting is that it's grey shaded. So, I felt that that was the interesting part about it. And I was very taken in with the story the moment Apu and Chintan, who's our dialogue writer, they were over and they told me, they took me through the film, and I was, I think it wasn't even like halfway through the film, and I was just like, I'm going to do this film in my mind, but I didn't say it to him at that point. And I got this feeling, I didn't imagine myself, sometimes you feel, or you can get an idea of. Also, at that point, I was getting offered similar kinds of films, and maybe I guess I wanted to just do something very different. And when this came my way, just like that voice in your heart, as you say, that gut feeling, it just said that, please do this, just say yes, it feels right. And him, the conviction that he had, and at that point, and the fact that he had put in 2 years of research, then you know that you'll be in very good hands. And given the kind of films that he's made, this is entirely his zone and his territory, which he totally masters. Yes. Exactly.
And of course, I'm sure a lot of your fans were also surprised with your pick of role, but I think the conviction shows in the trailer, and I'm sure they're waiting to see the movie as well. But what was it that made you believe in her for the part of Haseena Parkar, and of course Siddhant for the part of Dawood Ibrahim, and Ankur for the part of Haseena's brother Ibrahim?
Husband.
Yeah, husband, sorry.
Siddhant and me play cricket together, so we've been friends for a long time. I never met Shraddha before. But we were talking one day, and I said, I'm trying to do this next, and he said, we should work together. And I said, sure, bro. And I said, but there's only one character. If you can look like him, then I know you can act, because I've seen your stuff. And he went home and he did his own hair and makeup and hired a photographer. And they have this amazing 70s bar in the house, which overlooks a beautiful view. And he took some photographs and sent it to me. And that's it, right? So he said, you're on.
I was on.
And then we spoke about it, and then the film kept getting delayed. And but you know how it is, and he would call me and I said, bro, don't call me again, otherwise I'll throw you out of the film. I'll make it with you. And we stuck to it, And Ankur I've known for a long time. He's been a friend of mine. So it was very important for him to actually go through the process of a lot of auditions, because it should never be that you've done someone a favor and it doesn't work in your favor. You know what I'm saying? It's always good to know that you're working with people you like and people you know, but they have to, I guess, do justice to the role. And Shraddha, I saw a photograph of hers from her film Haider, which is one of my favorite films. And she's very underplayed her role, and I loved it. And the first image came into my mind that she can play a Muslim girl. The advantage of having Shraddha on the film would be that we wouldn't have to cast a younger Haseena Parkar, because the story starts from 17 to 45. And once we gave her a narration and she was on board, that is when the whole process of making Haseena Parkar come alive started. We got a lot of body doubles to work on with prosthetics and stuff like that. And we decided it was very important for Shraddha actually that the films start chronologically. So that was a little bit difficult, because I've never done a film scene 1 to scene 80, in one go. It was the other way around for him. He had to start from old. But all that helped, because the film takes place over a period of 40 years. And it's a journey of this woman, whatever grey or not grey, but it's journey of this woman who's seen some really tough times, and she's survived those. She's mastered what her position is, whether you call her a gangster or you call her a godmother, but she is something to someone and someone to reckon with. And I think that is very important.
Yeah. Well, for you, when you, as he narrated, of course, how you came on board, but did you have that conceptions at all that how will people take me as Dawood Ibrahim? You know, this is a character that everyone talks about. This is a character that people have dreaded for so many years. What were your conceptions, you know, preconceptions?
I think in a film, when it's a biography on someone, if it's a life on someone or a few people, it's a story, even if it's negative or positive. A story is always good to be told to people, so they can also know what's gone on in in the past in Mumbai and stuff. I didn't really think about what people would think of me, because it's a film. I'm playing a character in the end. The whole process was also a bit intense for me because of the character. You know, he's very grey. A lot of people have played him before, but I just trusted him and I just went ahead with whatever he told me, because he knew everything about it. 2 years of prep that he had done, all the information he had gathered. You know, he just distributed it to all his actors so nicely that it made things really easier for us. But I didn't really think much what people would think of me, because in the end it's just a film and it's just a character that I'm playing.
Okay, true. For you, playing a real-life role, Ankur, is it all the more challenging for an actor, knowing that you are essaying a part that people have seen, known? You know, even if others have just read about him or heard him, there's the family who would know the part you're playing.
See, the most challenging part playing this character was that I should stay true to the character, because we met the family and they narrated some of the incident, like about her characteristic traits, how this guy was and all, and we met some of his friends also who was, so this guy used to work in film industry as a stuntman also. So Appu sir has done immense amount of research about every character in the film. So my job was to actually digest that information and bring it to the life. So yeah, it was pretty challenging.
Okay, and you know, now you can take that, of course, while Siddhant has said that, you know, at the end of the day an actor is playing a part and you shouldn't care about what others will say and think, but there is also this argument now coming out, and you must have heard it as well, that it's a glorification in a way of a criminal, you know, the movie and the part you're playing. So what is your response to that?
My response to that is that that is actually not what we are trying to do. We're just, Appu was very clear that he wanted to, you know, show all the facets and all the sides regarding Haseena Parkar and her life and whatever has happened in her life. And once people see the film, they will feel free to form their own opinion about the woman and about the events that have, you know, happened in her life and shaped her through the years. Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Considering that you're the director.
It's pretty much that, but you have to understand that the person who's always spoken about is Dawood Ibrahim. No one knows Haseena Parkar. I didn't know Haseena Parkar was till someone told me about her. So the balance is like this. I'm making a story on his sister. That's the title of my film. But obviously, Dawood, we know he's #1 enemy of this country and what he's implicated for. But if it wasn't called Haseena Parkar, it was called Sunita Pradhan or something else, it's still a very intriguing story. Because this woman got married at the age of 17. She was born to 12 other siblings. They lived in a 12 by 12 foot chawl. Her father was a constable. And she didn't portray or see her life like this. You know, she thought that she was going to get married, live a happy life, had 4 kids. But as her brothers rise in the underworld and the gang wars between the Pathans and Karim Lala's gang, and then later on Arun Gavlian started, the burden of his rise fell on her. You know, she lost her brother, she lost her husband, eventually she lost her 25-year-old son. So I think that was more intriguing to me, a woman's journey into what she has become from really humble upbringings and where she has reached, where we can actually talk about her being a grey character or a godmother or a gangster. You know, and I think that anyway takes some making. Not anyone can reach that, you know, and she's done it with the help of a brother, without the help of a brother, but she's still there and we're talking about her.
Now there is of course also the fear of Dawood. Did you have that at all? Did anyone reach out from Dawood's side or any of his associates to you or any member of the team? Or did you get threat calls or something like that?
No, nothing like that. I don't think we did not get any calls.
I don't think it happens.
That doesn't happen.
Even though the media would love to believe this and the perception.
But you know what? See, if you look at what the film industry was just 20. I came to Bombay 19 years ago, you know, as an assistant director to make my get into the film industry, and that time there was no difference. Film industry and the underworld, so-called, was one. You know, people were actually getting shot because of territories. Like someone wanted Malaysia and two gangsters will fight over it and they'll kill a producer. Financed by the film industry. And then the time changed where we came into a position where the people in the police, which obviously we do respect a lot in Mumbai, and Mumbai police is very good. They decided enough is enough and now we're going to wipe them out. So we are at the stage of the super cops, you know, the encounter killings and stuff. So this is all part of history, and I don't think anyone calls, at least I know a couple of people who made films in this genre, and none of them have got called. I made Shoot Out a Local Wala. I've never got called. I know a couple of people. So this is something, it goes with the larger myth of Bollywood that if you make a film on a gangster, you'll get a call, but
nothing like that, in
really,
practicality. Yeah. Okay. Well, Ankur, of course,
it's quite interesting to get a call.
I don't want any calls.
Exactly.
Wonder what
You don't
they have to
invite them. Well, Ankur, of course, spoke about the research and all that went into you know, the part. And Shraddha, would you have liked to have met Haseena if she had been alive, and would you have liked to have possibly to have seen the role at the end of the day, which won't happen?
You know, of course, when you are playing any character, for example, I'm playing Saina Nehwal in my next film. I think it's an asset when you get to meet the character that you are playing, you know, because you can directly grasp certain nuances that you would want to imbibe in the film. In the case of Haseena Parkar, that didn't happen. She passed away in 2014. So I didn't get that opportunity to, as an actor, sit in front of her with my book open, with my notes, to just jot down what I felt about the subject itself. So that didn't happen, but because of his extensive research, you know, and the fact that he was pretty much an encyclopedia for all of us, you know, and he would share anecdotes with us, and that would really help us a lot.
Okay. Well, working with your brother for the first time, I believe there were some emotional moments on the scene when you guys got a bit carried away as well. How's it like, you know, working on this film for the first time with Siddhant, someone you've known growing up and now starring opposite him?
Since diaper days. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, I know. So it's like really special is an understatement, I guess. But it's a very special moment, and it's happening because of him. So
did you ever know this moment would come as since your diaper days, as she said?
No, but we used to actually do a lot of you know, dancing and nautanki when we were like kids. You know, like we used to go and watch Pop shoot, and we used to come home and be like, "Chal, let's dance." We used to put powder, and mom used to have that big recorder, you know, that cassette recorder, and we used to dance, and she used to record us, and we used to give dialogues, and so we never knew we were going to be in a film together playing brother sister, and this intense brother sister.
I know.
Yeah, but I guess God is great, He's great, and it just worked out.
It's just actually, and our film is just about releasing, so it's,
Well, she is a very strong woman, and at the end of the day, as you're playing a husband and you research for the role, how's it like for, you know, when a man is married to a strong woman who sometimes overshadows him? What were the layers that you understood about it?
Actually, when answer that he was dead by the...
No, exactly. What he means is... So what he means by that, she was married at the age of 17. So at that time she was not strong, she was just... You know,
a regular girl.
I was the stronger one. I was the stronger one in that. So he was like the shield for, he was the protector in the family. And in the film you will see, I think that we can share, he was shot like 17, 18 times. So after that, what incidents happens in her life, that what triggers her to become Haseena.
Yeah. Is this the toughest role for you? Because, you know, of course you got a lot of... you know, as he's saying, you're portraying her various ages, etc. through the time, and that's why the sequence of the film was that. But would you say that this is your toughest role, considering that you're exploring different layers in this character, also in terms of the look and prosthetics, etc., and makeup, you know, which must have gone in?
You know, you try to tell yourself at the end of a shoot day that, yeah, I'm fine, and it's all okay, and I can just switch off, and you know, it's an intense film, but it's okay, I'll be able to switch off. And you're in denial of that, and you try to convince yourself, but when it just catches up on you, and you're unable to just kind of disconnect from, you know, a scene that you've just played, and you know, the fact that this character has gone through so much, those are the moments when you feel like, okay, maybe I'm a bit more attached, maybe this is harder than I thought it would be. And so that, I mean, that would happen very often. And I would, even when I would be going home, I would be at home, I would constantly be just connected, you know. I just felt like I had to keep thinking about the next day, what we're shooting and how is that supposed to play out. And so the fact that that entire switch off was not happening was why this film was really emotionally draining. And I actually didn't discuss these things with Apu, my brother, or Ankur, because you come on set and you want to do what you want to do. You don't want to burden them by saying that, hey, I can't switch off. I didn't sleep well last night. You don't want to do that. But
actually used to have some anxiety attacks in the night. Yeah, because it's quite a character to play for me and her both. I mean, I had to travel to get out of the character. When she traveled, I think, but she never discussed it with us that she could not switch off yet.
I think that you were seeing her on sets and then off.
On set, we used to come home together. We used to go to shoot together, but we only spoke about the film before we started. And like after shoot, we used to just literally just collapse and sleep, because also emotionally it's like really draining. Like it's very intense.
Very, very intense and very, very challenging. Yes, really, really tough, and not just for me, for all of us involved, because it's a journey of a woman who's actually been through multiple tragedies in her life, and so I would say it was extremely.
And it's interesting, that of course through the film, the viewers will see the trial also, the trial aspect that she faced for extortion cases, using her brother's name allegedly, etc. And it's quite interesting that we are seeing this story play out in real life right now, as we're talking in real time, of Iqbal Kaskar, who has been arrested. Another of Dawood's siblings, and he's also going to be facing trial for alleged extortion. Is he there in your film at all?
Not at all.
Not. Okay.
We've dealt with the two siblings because we found that she was very close to her older brother Sabir, who was actually Ibrahim's friend, and he arranged for the wedding. And he passed away, and then we've explored the relationship between her and her brother Dawood, because before the bomb blast and after the bomb blast in Mumbai, she was the only one in the family who stayed back. Everybody else left the country. And the only reason she stayed back was because her in-laws had to be looked after, they were older. And so basically till a certain point, it's a pretty fun and a natural relationship, and then at one point he leaves the country because the police are after him, like what we all know and what we've all read and what we've all researched in various books. So we haven't mentioned anybody else in the family except the father, who we have, when we spoke to the police, they said that he was held for taking bribes, and when we spoke to the family, they said that he was very unhappy with the rise of his children in the underworld. So we've taken those both aspects, but no, we haven't mentioned anybody else.
At all, exactly. And there's a lot of talk now in the country as well, with recently Dawood's assets being seized in the UK, and now with Iqbal Kaskar's arrest, that it could be possible that he be brought back. Someone who's eluded the law for so long. What do you really feel of that entire?
I think, see, it's very simple, boss. We live in this country. There are certain what the judiciary says, I abide with that totally. And if he's India's most wanted man, and if India can get him back, they should. That's the only thing.
What do you feel, Siddharth?
You must be a follower of the judiciary system.
Just because you make a film on someone doesn't change what you are and where you live and where you belong, I guess.
What is right is right.
What is right is right. Yeah.
True, exactly. Okay, well, since we have both of you together once again in this interview, any advice that you got from your father before entering the industry, or do you talk a lot of shop home? You talk about films a lot home, considering that your family is associated in films.
Bob's always giving us advice, and we always want advice from him because he's so experienced. He's done 750 films, close to 800 now. We actually
that's
so
a
lucky.
record in a way.
Yes, he was
in the Linka book.
Yeah.
He reached Charles Sobi's films. There was a story which came out, I remember. That was a really funny story. But we're actually very lucky to be living in a house with such an amazing talent. He's so dedicated to his work. Whenever anyone speaks about Shakti Kapoor, they only think about all the outstanding characters he's played. So it's, of course, some way or the other has rubbed on to us. And when it comes to all the auditions that I've given, he's always been there. He always, removes time for me to like sit on my piece for 2 hours and I'm like, Papa 1 घंटा, like नहीं 2 घंटा, मुझे 2 घंटा दो या तो तुम्हें फिल्म नहीं मिलेगी, ऐसे हम like चलो करते. Then every small thing, he used to tell me, it made so much sense, but sometimes you're like, Dad, chalo रहने दो, कर लूँगा मैं, but no, I had to listen to him. I did listen to him, and he's an amazing teacher when it comes to like teaching us live filmmaking and acting and everything else.
Okay. Yeah, well, I want to actually add to that. He said it absolutely correctly, and actually, more than film advice, our dad just says certain things that is like golden life advice. So he would share stories of his beginning, and I just realized I'm sitting like Appa. Anyway, and
this is when real meets real.
These kind of things start happening. But
picture release ho rahi
hai. But he had shared such an interesting story with I don't know if he told you this also, but when he made his first 10,000 rupee ki gaddi, he had said that he would look at it at night and he would tell himself that this is my hard work, and he would put it under his pillow, and he just basically would just tell us that those little things, don't take anything for granted in life at all. Don't take any little thing for granted. Today you may be getting the best films and you may be recognized vastly, but just understand that should never waver your focus in giving your best every single time.
Fantastic advice for our viewers, of course, not in the film industry as well. Very quickly, on this Karan Joseph case, a quick reaction from you all, considering that you knew him. Do you feel that justice is needed for Karan? For those who knew him, his parents are fighting for it.
110%. I think he was such a talent, such an outstanding pianist, such a bright boy. I've met him a few times in Bombay, and whatever was right and justice, definitely, he's such a nice boy. I remember it shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And he had a lot more to give to the world.
Yeah.
Like he was going international. He was having collaborations with such great acts. We read about him. We used to be proud. So I think justice should happen.
Do you agree? Because there are all sorts of mysteries coming out. You feel the truth must come out.
I don't know too much about the case, but what I know is after some insights came in today. But boss, I think India's change and justice eventually happens. And especially in Bombay, like I said again, our cops are something else, however big a celebrity you might be, they do this and every car stops, whether it's Mr. Bachchan or it's Shraddha or me. So Bombay police are pretty, I think it'll happen.
Okay, well, it's time to end now. It's been a pleasure talking to you all. And as you said, you're now sitting like Appa, who is Haseena Parkar, for those of our viewers who don't know. So please, एक dialogue हो जाए. अब आपको poster में तो आ ही गए हैं, तो एक dialogue भी हो जाए.
So the dialogues in our film,
I think your director also wants to see. He also wants to see a dialogue.
Because we only know one dialogue.
We can all sing together.
We all know one
Let's all sing together. Which
so that's your camera.
That's the master.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll have the entire team end with a dialogue, which is a jhalak for you all, a trailer on what you can expect, of course, in the big screen.
You have to say action.
Yes.
Action.
आपा याद रहेगा, नाम याद रखने की जरूरत नहीं.
Fantastic, but no retakes here. No retakes here. But for the original take, of course, you have to go and watch the film. It's been a pleasure. Thank you all. All the very best.
Thank you so much for having me.